Welcome to my channel, Stash to Cash. My name is Mrs. Lex, checking in today. Today's topic entails credit cards, mayhem or blessing. First of all, I would like to say thank you to any new subscribers and viewers tuning in. I appreciate all of you. Today I will be talking about credit cards, my personal experience, hiccups, dramas, crazy habits and so forth. Bearing in mind I have 3 credit cards and I've had them for 20 years. So I believe I have learnt a lot, in my view, of course. Over the years, I have cut my cards in 2 to avoid using them. I have also put them in the freezer, frozen in a block of ice. You know, I've done that, and I can say at the time I thought I was doing something that was going to help me, but you know, moving forward. My light bulb moment emerged about 6 years ago when I was enlightened by my youngster. At the time, he was a first-year student at uni, and he is a mathematician. And how it emerged was, I was just sitting at my kitchen table with several credit card statements, you know, and I was just juggling like any mother would. You know, you've got 3 credit cards. And he picked up one of my statements and told me that if I only paid the minimum payment on this card for 1 year, I would give the bank £700 in interest. And from that day forward, I saw the light. I tried to remedy this situation by not being a slave to credit cards. And what I mean by not being a slave to credit cards, when you have an income and you subtract all the things that you need to do to live, and the rest of your salary belongs to the credit card, that is what I mean. You know, whether you're imagine paying on 3 cards, 400 in this card, a couple of hundreds, and you know, or the bare minimum. It means that 6 or 7 or 800 pounds, you know, it doesn't belong to you. So that is what I mean by being a slave to a credit card. You cannot save anything because you're in debt to your card, and any extra cash you will pay to your credit card. And if you choose not to clear balances, then you will have to pay obviously crazy interest rates by paying the minimum payments. And I want to tell you the credit amount on my 3 cards. My 3 cards, the total credit on them is 21,500. So that is what I'm talking about. But now I am a converted individual. I clear my balances and I use my cards appropriately. I have learned that banks love it when you are in debt. The more interest they get, they choose to increase your credit limit when you cannot pay. And you're kind of hook, line and sinker. And that is how I got to that credit amount. I have 3 cards. I was offered all 3 of them. I never applied for any of them. The amount on each card, I didn't ask for it. And, you know, as soon as you hit the first tier, they up the ante, and that is how I obtained over 21,000 in credit. Keeping it real. I have learnt that credit cards can be a blessing, but also a curse. You should always be cautious how you use them, because not everybody can handle credit card debt well. It's self-explanatory. I actually know somebody that declared themselves bankrupt, and it was because of credit cards, you know. So, you know, people handle debt and stress in a different way. So because of what I've learned, I now never walk around with my credit cards. They are used appropriately or for any emergency. I also read the fine print, and you should always read the fine print on any statement that refers to any interest rates, you know, because I think that sometimes when you apply for a card and they give you figures, sometimes we consumers think that it will always be the same. And no, it will not always be the same, because the banks are there to make money, and they will do what they want, how they want, because they can. And I want to flag up something that happened to me last year. Last year, I was, because I'm a converted individual now, I always read the fine print. I go and find my glasses and read the fine print. And I had noticed that on one of my credit cards, it had an interest increase in April. So obviously, I took note of that. And then the same credit card, it had another interest increase in August. So I thought to myself, what is going on here? I'm going to ring them up, because it's April and now it's August. 2 interest rates, you know, in less than 6 months. This is crazy. And I rang them up and I said to them that I've noticed that there is an interest increase on this card. And, you know, I thought it was an error, a printing error. And they said to me, no, it's not a printing error. We can do what we want, you know, because we can. We can change the rules. We can move the goalposts. So that is what I have learned. You know, when you take on board something, especially credit cards, they can hike the interest rates up, you know, at any time. And I'll give you an example. That card was 29%, which would mean that if I spent £100, I would pay £29 in interest. And the new increase meant that if I spent £100, I would now pay £39 in interest. So that is the difference when you have a lot of balance. When your balance is high, it means that your interest rate is going to be crazy if you do not clear them. And I want to share with you actually how my journey started in regards to clearing my balance, and decided to change the way that I was using my credit cards. When I had my light bulb moment and I decided that I was going to do something about it, because I made a conscious decision and I told my family that, look, this is what I'm going to do. £300 was gifted to me immediately, and to obviously pay on one of my cards. And you might be saying to yourself, £300 is not a lot. £300 is a blessing when you are paying any kind of bill and you've got £300 extra. And that was my journey 6 years ago. And obviously we're now in 2024. All my credit cards are on zero. Yes, I use them, but I use them to benefit myself. And I use them in a different way. I mean, one might say, well, you know, what's the point of having credit cards if you don't use them? I do use them. Every so often I will swipe them to keep them active, because I was told that if you don't use them, the bank can ask you back for them. And in regards to making a large purchase, just say, for example, I was going to make a large purchase on one of my cards, I would do that. And if I couldn't clear it, I would possibly do a balance transfer to avoid paying higher interest rates. And what I have learned about balance transfers is that when you have several cards, the bank are always offering you balance transfers because they want any kind of interest. So what I would do, I would say, like if I spent £2,000 on a card, and I would transfer that balance onto my other card and pay like a very small fee of 2.99%. That could represent £60 or £70, and that could be for 6 months, 8 months, or 12 months. And that is something that always flags up with me because I have my cards on low balances. So that is what I would do. I wouldn't go into my bank account and withdraw funds to clear a credit card of £2,000. I wouldn't do that. I would use the balance transfer and pay a small fee, because that is what I have done it works, and for me it's been working in rotation, and that is how I managed to tidy up this chaos that I got myself into. And now my cards are on zero and I do use them, you know. So my view on credit cards, it may be a blessing, but it can also be a curse. That depends on the individual and the mindset, how they choose to use it. And that's my take on it. And I also want to say to anyone watching, I do not walk around with credit cards unless I have a plan of action. Because why would you do that? You've just got temptation there, or, you know, my credit cards are always in my budget binder, which is on the table. And there they are. When I need one, I will pull for it. And it makes sense to be cautious with anything that you are doing that may cause you mayhem in some way. So that is what I wanted to share with anyone watching. So in the meantime, I'd like to say, remember, it's not what you earn, it's what you keep. Pennies make pounds and pounds have use. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Please comment, like and subscribe for ongoing tips and saving strategies. Try a challenge, I think you should. Take care of yourself, and blessings to anyone tuning in. Goodbye for now.